Today is May 13th, 2021, and this is your daily Half-Life 3 update. There is no news about Half-Life 3. Yesterday, I asked you guys for questions, said I would answer the best one in today's update. That comes from my cat 8 France, who asked, what country would you most like to live in if you had an easy opportunity? Well, that's an easy answer. It's New Zealand. It's just I just want to live in like a hobbit hole in New Zealand. I mean, people in New Zealand are literally just living in Middle Earth. I mean, what other franchise, can you just live in? You can live in Middle Earth. Just go to New Zealand. It's basically Middle Earth. I mean, that's easy. I saw Spiral today. I've become convinced that someone out there is playing a big Jigsaw-like game. Sometime after Saw 3, I want to say, they started playing a big game on us to continue making these movies and make them more and more disappointing in different ways, and see if we would keep watching them. So far, it still works. It's still working. We're still watching them. But yeah, I saw Spiral wasn't very good. I don't know if it was as bad as Jigsaw. That'd be tough. I'd have to watch Jigsaw again. But I kind of had different reactions. I know with Jigsaw, my reaction was kind of, but why? And then with Spiral, my reaction was kind of, so what? It's like I didn't get the point of Spiral, and I figured out who the killer was like very very quickly. Like the character showed up on screen, didn't even like say anything. I was like, oh, that's the killer. Okay, and I was right. I figured out who the killer was immediately. Like first 5 minutes of the movie. I don't know if that's a good. I don't know if that's like a fault of the movie or I've just seen too many movies and know things. But they confirm if you think this person is the killer, they will confirm it for you halfway through. So if you have suspicions like maybe it's this guy, they'll do something to be like, oh yeah, it's definitely that guy because they did this. And any other Saw movie, if this person wasn't the killer, they would have done something differently. And I don't think that's too spoilery. If it is, I'm sorry. You shouldn't care. I mean, there's a killer in a Saw movie. And you don't get a good... Saw has such a great theme. And you don't get a good like sting moment of that theme playing. I mean, you get one that's kind of okay, but it feels more pandering almost because it's not at the end. At the end you're supposed to have that big twist reveal music and that blah 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 blah. That's to pick up and kind of really blare at you. And it's there at the end very softly, but then like 10 minutes earlier they had the music more, but it felt more pandering to the Saw fans because it was that moment you see it in trailers. It was that moment when Chris Rock picks up the bone saw, like, oh, I'm gonna have to cut an appendage off. That's when that music started blaring up. Not really blaring either though, so that kind of felt like pandering. Like, oh, see, it's a thing from the Saw movie. You like the first one, right? It's the only one that's actually really good, except maybe the second one's okay. But yeah, you see that we did the thing. Yeah. And I swear this movie was like the script or whatever was a comedy. Like the script for this movie was a parody of Saw, and they changed it to make it more serious. But they kept a couple Chris Rock lines. Because particularly that scene where he has the bone saw, and and he thinks he might have to cut off an appendage. How that scene plays out screams parody, but it's not handled like a parody or a spoof or comedically. But you change the music, maybe brighten the scene up. You could definitely turn that scene into a parody or a spoof or a Saturday Night Live skit if anybody actually watches that. But yeah, it just ends, and you're just like, what was the point of that? Why do I care? So what? Why did they do this? Get Dr. Gordon back. Ignore that random new guy no one liked that we brought in Jigsaw. What's his name? Oh, shoot, I just saw it too. It's Logan. Who cares about Logan? This magical inserted first apprentice. Like, yeah, right. Come on. That's ridiculous. What was he doing in all the other Saw movies? They yes, they revealed Dr. Gordon late. They revealed that Gordon was a Jigsaw apprentice in the very last movie. But when they did that reveal, they inserted him. They inserted him in ways that worked. Like, oh, they did it in a way that made you think maybe they were planning this on the beginning. I don't know if they were or not, but with Logan, apparently he's the first Jigsaw apprentice, and then he doesn't do anything throughout the events of Saw 1 to 7, and then he comes back for Saw 8 to do stuff. He speaks for the dead. You have any more questions? Leave them in the comment section below, and I'll answer the best one in tomorrow's update. And that has been your daily Half-Life 3 update for May 13th, 2021.